am in the mood to do something completely different today, so let's do something different today. I have some Paper Mill A4 craft card, and I haven't used any of this yet, so I want to give it a go today. All I'm going to be doing today is a black and white scale drawing, which is like one of my favorite things to do. I absolutely love tanned paper. I like working with it. Look at that, it's even a different sort of shade. Look at that. I have an idea for today's illustration for this, so let's get drawing, as always. So this was, I sort of got this idea off of an artist. I cannot for the life of me right now remember who it is, so I'll have a link below of who it is that I sort of got this inspiration off of it. I thought, oh man, this is cool. Let's do my own version of it and do it in a black and white scale, because I think this one was, it was done like in, what do you call it? It was a digital design. So yeah, I'm going to do a version of it in traditional black and white. Hopefully I can keep this story quite short, and hopefully I don't get sidetracked and waffle on a fair bit, because I do tend to go off on tangents and not make a huge amount of sense at times. But yeah, I just want to explain to you how and why I am the way that I am, and basically give you a bit of an insight into yeah, just basically the background on what makes me sort of tick and why I am the way that I am, basically. So I do think that I'll start right from the beginning, and the beginning of everything is when I was 5 years old. I developed a complete irrational fear of death. Yes, I was 5. It was, what year was it then? It was like 1989, I think. I was 5. I don't know. I'm not very good at maths. But yeah, so we're in an era where a lot of this sort of stuff isn't really talked about, but like, to be all fair, I had really understanding parents, and through my whole life they never doubted that there was anything major wrong with me in any aspect of my life. They just accepted everything that I did when I did draw some really dark things and liked some really dark things. So they were the only people in my life that really understood me right from the beginning and never really questioned me about anything, which was really good to have that support system in my life. So anyway, yeah, so that was developed, and I've basically gone through my whole life having a fear of death, a pretty bad one. It sort of stopped me doing a lot of things in my life, which I sort of I don't regret, but because I don't regret a lot of things in my life, but yeah, it was always in the back of my mind. Like, I always hated going on family trips, and that's because I was always afraid that we're always going to have a car accident, just stuff like that. And yeah, so that was the start of my dark thoughts, basically. As I got on through the years, got to about 11 and 12 years old, I started getting into gothic anything. I started getting into metal music, dressing in black, really being drawn to witchcraft, demons, monsters, all that sort of stuff. And it really did make me feel good. I couldn't sort of be drawn to anything pink and nice and anything like that. That didn't soothe my soul, and it didn't resonate with me. All of this darker sort of gothic sort of stuff really was the only thing that made me feel really good and really nourished my soul, I should say. So basically then up through primary schools, in that, like, we had drawing classes, and I do remember this one class where we had to draw a war scene, and it was supposed to be nothing like malice or anything bad, but I ended up as an 11-year-old drawing a bad scene of heads being blown off and tanks running over people, and all that sort of stuff. I think I was in grade 6. I can't remember. I do have a video on having like a tour of all my school books. I will have that up in the top right corner if you want to go check that out. It's a pretty long video, but yeah, that picture is in there, so I'll probably go back and have a look and see what year it was as well. Yeah, so that, I was the only kid in the class that did that, so that was like probably alarm bells to any of the teachers. I can't really remember what the teacher's reaction was, but I do know they did pin it up on the wall, so I couldn't have been too bad. But anyway, moving on to high school with my art classes that I did from grade 8 to grade 12. I had a lot of the teachers, because I had a different teacher every year, they thought I had massive issues. But like, I knew within myself that like there was something there, but I knew it wasn't anything bad. But I just liked dark things, and I had the teachers. I had this one teacher come to me twice, worried about me, wanting to know if there was anything wrong with me, like if there's anything going on, and I'm like, no. Like I've said, I gravitate to the darker things in life, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else that is going on, because of the fact that, like, we had an assignment, we had to draw fruit in a bowl, and everyone in the class drew nice colourful fruit in a nice colourful bowl, because from what I can remember, it was all nice and colourful. I was over, in front of this bowl of fruit, drawing it. It was rotted. It had a worm coming out of one of the apples. The bowl was dark. It was a dark sort of presence and atmosphere around the bowl of fruit. Like, it was just, the teachers just lost their shit. They really did. And substitute teachers wouldn't even come anywhere near me when they saw me working on certain things. I sort of really scared those teachers, and that's the truth. That's the truth to it. They were really worried about my mental well-being, basically. So then it was about 15, 16, I developed anxiety and depression, and also stomach issues as well. I'd always had issues with my stomach. I had really bad reflux as a baby, Mum told me, and always had pains in my stomach, and never sort of felt really good. I'd have really bad, like, off days where I would stay home from school because I just didn't feel good, didn't feel right. And it all sort of was leading to my stomach. But then when I developed anxiety and depression, I developed this stomach issues where my stomach was always burning, and I'd have reflux, I'd have really bad bloating and cramps, and basically, I then developed flutters in my chest. So it was where my heart sits. I would get like this thump, and it was always a dull thump. It was only ever one. And I would get that I got that right up until I was about 22. And I still get them now. Like, I still get these flutters now, but basically what they do now is, well, I've got it under control now, but I'll get to that later. But yeah, it sort of got worse, and I had a full-blown flutter attack. So what it did was, it felt like my whole stomach, my whole esophagus was fluttering and spasming, and I couldn't breathe, and my heart raced. Like, we had our machine at the time, and my parents put me on it, and it was like over 200 beats a minute, and my pulse felt like Morse code. Like, my pulse was just going so I thought my heart was beating irregularly as well. So it frightened the absolute shit out of me, and Dad was rushing me to hospital. He was driving me, and then halfway there, it stopped instantly, just like that, stopped. The tickle went out of my throat. I got my breath back. My heartbeat was starting to beat normal again, and all that. And I was a fit person. Like, I have been exercising since I was 18, and I'm talking like, I ran for about half an hour to 40 minutes 4 times a week, and I still do that. I've been doing that since I was 18, so nearly 20 years. And yeah, I never noticed anything, never had any chest pain, but then this happened, and it frightened the absolute shit out of me. So my parents were like, all right, we'll just monitor this and we'll see how you go. Then once a year, I started getting these flutters. So they started to come, and once a year I'd have an attack. I'd usually get the flutters every day. I'd at least get one. Sometimes I could go a week without flutters, but it was basically every day. And then I would burp a lot when it would happen. I usually would get these triggers when I was very gassy in my stomach. Now, my stomach, it was that bad to the point where I would be like crouched over in a fetal position, just laying down in bed. Sometimes I'd cry myself to sleep, or I'd just cry to release the pressure. Like, if for some reason crying sort of eased my stomach a fair bit. It was always burning. Like, I'd wake up in the mornings, and it was hard for me to get out of bed because of my stomach just felt heavy. I felt out of breath. Yeah, it was just horrible. Like, and I still get that sometimes, but it is a lot better now. Once again, I'll get into that a bit later. But yeah, it would set my anxiety off, it would set my depression off, and basically the two of them would go hand in hand together. So all through my 20s, I was a complete basket case, and I would not go back to my 20s if you paid me. It's something that I would like to live in the past. And I feel a lot better I started to feel a lot better going into my 30s. The 30s is when I really sort of was able to be like a human. Like, I started to feel like a human again, whereas my 20s was trying to deal with this mental illness that turned my whole world upside down, my stomach issues, the depression, everything, and just trying to be a human being and trying to function. And that's why I could never go back to my 20s at all. So I've always had the burning, the reflux. Yeah, it debilitated me. It really did. Like, if my stomach played up really bad and I felt sick, my depression and anxiety would kick in. So I was just one big ball of just absolute, just of a shitstorm. So that's when I was about 28 when I went and got all the tests done, because I just had enough. I wanted to know what was going on. I had all the heart echoes done. I went on the treadmills. I had ultrasounds. I had barium swallows for my stomach. I had absolutely everything, but my tests all came back completely negative, other than I was diagnosed with GORD. GORD is a esophageal reflux disease. It's called GERD in every other country. For some reason, Australia calls it GORD. I was diagnosed with that, so every time like I eat or drink something, you can feel it swirling. It comes right up my esophagus, but yeah, it just comes back up again. That's what the barium swallow detects. And the doctors basically said to me I had to be on medication for the rest of my life. And I chose not to be, because I'm one of those people that if I've got a headache or if I've got any pain, I don't even like taking painkillers. I'm very big on natural remedies for stuff like that, within reason. Obviously, I'm not a complete like crazy person on that, but I like to either not take it, or if I, you know, as long as I'm not in too much pain. But I can't even remember the last time I took I get a lot of sinus headaches, bad sinus headaches. I won't take any medication for that. I just let it ride out. I put a cold pack on my head. I just can't take painkillers. Like, I can't take chemicals. I don't like taking chemicals. The only chemical that I am taking at the moment is Lexapro, which is an antidepressant. That's the only one that I will take, and I don't plan to be on that for the rest of my life. Hopefully I can sort my shit out. That's been the only thing that saved me in the last 3 years. But once again, I'll get onto that later on. So yeah, I then discovered that throwing myself back into art again really made me feel better, and really let me release a lot of the demons inside me, and a lot of the anguish that was going on in my head with everything, and just with the complete dark soul that I am. I got back into drawing, and my drawings were quite dark, and basically where I left off, I tried to just draw anything to get back into it. I tried to draw nice things, didn't really make me feel good. Started drawing darker things again, and that's, you know, that was the sweet spot. That's what made me feel so good, was unloading all that, you know, all that shitty feeling I had inside me onto paper in the forms of monsters and demons and horrible things and blood and guts and all that, and it just made me feel so good. So basically, still having the fear of death as well, that's all mixed into the anxiety and depression and the stomach issues. So I'm also a hypochondriac, so I always think that I'm dying every second of the day as well. So that's another thing that I've got to deal with, that's just done my head in over the years. And yeah, throwing myself into art and drawing always blocked that all out and always made me feel better. So that's why I got back into it. Now, I discovered Etsy in that people were putting felt patterns on Etsy, so I decided to jump on that bandwagon and bring a lot of my drawings to life, like these cute little monsters that I had in my head and drawn on paper. I then started turning them into felt patterns, and then that was another creative outlet that I decided to do as well, to get all this darkness out onto the paper. And yeah, then that was the turning point for me, wanting to make art my career, and that's what I've been working towards ever since. And that was about when I was the age of 30. I started my Etsy store, and that's when I sort of started getting out of my dark place and sort of starting to do something that really resonated with me, and just drawing my darkness on paper, basically, and then wanting to show the world, yeah, my drawings. So I then, not long after that, I created my YouTube channel, which was another outlet for, you know, a place where I could come and post all my darkness and everything on as well, and share it with like-minded people who are going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing, and to sort of, yeah, grow a community where us people who are dark souls can come and indulge in some darkness that feeds our souls, because that's what it does for me. And that's the whole gist to this whole conversation that I'm having, is that drawing horrible things is something that I must do and I have to do, and at the same token, I absolutely love it. It feeds my soul. It's somewhere for me to release all that darkness inside of me, to cleanse my soul a bit and make me feel so much better. Yeah, that's what it is. And basically, with everything that's led up to in my life has like added to the darkness, like my stomach issues, the anxiety and depression, my fear of death. That has all been like a combination for me and fuel for me to be able to indulge in the darkness and release it out on paper as well. So this is why I can't draw anything nice. You'll never see me draw anything too cute, or you won't see me draw really nice, pretty girls or anything like that, because it doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't make me feel good inside to do it. Like, I don't do this to shock people or to create like a reaction. I do this because I love it. It's my life. I can't imagine not drawing something gross or something horrible, scary, blood and guts. I can't imagine not doing that. It has to come out of me. It's just a release, as I've kept saying. I'm just a really, really dark soul, and I don't know if that comes from a past life. I don't know if you guys believe in past lives, but yeah, I don't know if I've been traumatized in that respect, because like I've got no issues in my life. I have not had a bad life at all. I've had the best life. I've had the most supportive people around me. I've got the best family. I've got really good like supportive friends who go through a similar thing. I've got a supportive partner. He supports me, and well, he doesn't understand a lot of mental illness, but he is there for me, and he does his best to understand. But that's where the meds have come into it. In the last 3 years, I've been able to function as a human being, and all that's been suppressed a bit. Like, it's still there, and I don't mind it still being there, because it's who I am. If that sounds a bit weird, but I wouldn't like my mental illnesses to completely go away, because they are a part of me and they've made me who I am. And it sort of lets me know where I've come from and where I've been and what I've dealt with. And yeah, I don't know who I'd be without the mental illnesses. I know that sounds really, really weird, but there is such a thing that a lot of mental illness sufferers do worry about their anxiety and depression going away, because it is such a big part of them. They actually miss it when it is gone, and have this fear of feeling good because they feel as though something bad's going to happen. And I do have that as well. Like, you'll never see me be completely excited, because I am always afraid that something's going to go wrong and something's going to just turn completely awful because I've allowed myself to be happy. So I do have that thought process as well, but it has been suppressed by the medication that I am on. So my fear of death, my anxiety and depression, and even my stomach and my flutters have sort of reduced a lot, to the point where I don't care about them anymore, and I can function normally. And I have had flutter attacks, and I still do get them. I don't care about them. I just keep living my life. They don't knock the breath out of me anymore, because I don't panic anymore. And yeah, it's been such like it's been a hell of a journey to try and get to this spot now, but it's made me who I am, and I honestly wouldn't take it back for the world. And yeah, it's just me. It's who I am, and that's why I create the dark art that I do, and that's why I do the things that I do. And I dress in black still, and that was never a phase. I always kept that going. Being a person drawn to darkness is just something that will always be me. And yeah, that is it. I am going to go now, and yeah, leave you with those thoughts. So hopefully you enjoyed this Demon Hunter illustration that I've done in this. He's a scary fella. Like, he's a very scary fella. He gathers up demon heads and puts them on him, and they are still alive. He breathes life into them, so that's quite disturbing. But anyway, I am out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you thought we've had a good chat. We've had a good chat today. So, and hopefully you sort of get a bit more understanding of why I am the way that I am. I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.